Hey guys, today we're going to do something a little bit different and fun. We're going to create a MAD-LIBS random story generator. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go out to Google, do a Google search on MAD-LIBS, find a story that you want to do, and then paste it in here. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and import two packages that we're going to use for this. So in order to handle the randomness of the word selection, we're going to use the random integer method, and that's going to give us our index that we're going to use to look up from our word dictionary. The next thing we're going to import is copy. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and type my story. And this is a story that I found online. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert this in here. What I'm going to do first is I'll type the first line so that you can kind of see what I'm doing here, and then I'll copy and paste the rest for the sake of time. So one day my blank friend and I decided to go to the blank game in blank. So this is kind of the format that you want to do for each sentence. And what we're going to do is for every word that we want to insert, we're going to place one of these variable holders, and then we're going to concatenate these sentences together. Now that we have that, you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the rest of this story in here. So you can see that I have multiple sentences, and everywhere that I am going to insert a word, I've placed a variable holder here. And the one thing you want to make sure is that you put a space in between the periods so that when you concatenate your sentences, they're not running into each other. The next thing we're going to do is create a dictionary to look up words by type. So I'm going to go ahead and create a word dict here. And the types of words in my story are one, adjective, and I'm going to create an empty list. I'll fill it up in just a second. And then I'm also going to need city name. I'm going to need nouns. I'm going to need an action verb. Going to need a sports noun. I'm going to need a place. Now what you can do is you can go in here and just insert whatever you want. So greedy, abrasive, grubby. We've got rich. Let's do harsh. Let's do tasty. All right, that'll work for right now. I've actually got this already done. So what I'm going to do so that you've already got the ID here, I'll go ahead and copy and paste these in here. What I've got is a word dictionary. I'm going to look up the type of word that I need and then select a random one from this list. And what I'm also going to do is, because I don't want to use the same word more than once, I'm going to basically pop it out of the list as I go through and pick words, and you'll see how I do that in just a second. So now that we got that done, we need to create a function that's going to select a random word. We'll call it getWord, and it's going to take two arguments. One is the type of word, and the second is going to be a local dictionary. And what this local dictionary is in the next function that we create, the create story function, we're going to make a copy of this word dictionary. And what that's going to allow us to do is to basically drop items from the local dictionary while we're filling out this form here without dropping it from the original. And that's so that we can create multiple stories randomly and still have words to choose from. We'll pass type and then local dict here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the words that I'm going to select from, and that's going to be from the local dict. The local dict key that I'm going to look up is the type. that I'm going to pass here. So if I put type in here, adjective, it's going to give me this list right here, for example. The next thing I want to do is I want to calculate a random index to look up from this list. What I need to do is the randint method accepts two arguments. One is the beginning range and the last is the ending range. And the ending range is what I need to know because obviously the beginning range is 0. So we're going to do count equals the length of the words list. And then we're going to subtract 1 from it. And the reason is that this is going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but an index starts with the 0. So I need to subtract 1 to get a valid ending range. Okay, next I'm going to create the index that I'm going to use. So let's use randint. So select a random integer between 0 and the count. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to return local dict. I'm going to look up the type. And then I'm going to pop that index number from the list. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm re-looking up this word list, and then I'm popping off the item from that list, so it's going to return that item and also remove it from this local dictionary, or the local dictionary that's passed in. Okay, so that's done. Now let's create a story function. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is create a local dictionary, and that's going to be a copy of this global dictionary. Now, we can't just do local dict equals word dict, because basically all that's going to do is it's going to refer to this word dict. And we can't actually do a shallow copy with the dictionary either by doing word dict.copy, because again, making changes to that local dict will also change that word dict. So what we have to do is make a deep copy, so basically a replication of that word dict. And how we do that is with the deep copy method. So type copy.deep copy, and then we're going to pass in word dict. And that way, when we make changes to the local dict, it will not change the original word dict. And then what we can do next is return the story. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the string format to basically fill in all of these variables in our string. So how we're going to do that is we're going to do get word. First word is an adjective. And then we're going to pass in that local dict. We're just going to keep doing this until all of the words are filled. So the next is sports noun. Pass the local dict. Okay, so you can kind of see how this works here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and copy the rest of these in here, since you get the idea. Okay, so what's happening now is I'm returning this story string, and I'm passing into each of these variables here the word I'm looking up from this local dict. And every time it looks up one of those random words, it's going to drop the word from the list. So I'm not going to get the same adjective. I'm not going to get the same noun or place, etc. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to print the story. So let's do 2 of these. We'll do story 1. And let's print create story. Oh, that's not correct. Fine. Just create story. There we go. Create story. So let's print that out. And then let's print a blank line. And let's print another story. Story 2. Print create story. Okay. So now what should happen is I'm going to print a string story1. It's going to create my story and then print it out. And then it's going to do the same for the other one. So let's go ahead and try this, and hopefully we don't have any bugs in the code. Here we go. All right, so here we go. One day, my harsh friend and I decided to go to the player game in Denver. We really wanted to see the salad play the dog, so we bounced our hamster down to the desert and bought some hot dogs. We got into the game and it was a lot of fun. We ate some rich ball and drank some Greed People. We had a great time. We plan to go ahead next year. And then here's the next, looks like it misspelled greedy. One day, my greedy friend and I decided to go to the uniform game in Chicago. We really wanted to see the salad play the ball, so we watched our music down to the store and bought some hot dogs. We got into the game and it was a lot of fun. We ate some harsh people and drank some abrasive hamster. Wow. So anyway, this is a fun kind of project, but actually you can use this kind of thing in your work. Say, for example, you're in finance and you want to create MD&A, or maybe in form letters. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and I will talk to you later.